Here we are at Hendrick Motorsports in the museum talking to Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. Thanks for sitting down with us.
Yeah, no problem.
So, you know, a lot of people talked about your last season and they said, well, the 48 was off, but you weren't really off. Do you think you were off? Did you have an off season last year?
Well, I mean, the results, you know,
got a pretty high bar there, Johnson.
It's true. It is true. We know what we're capable of, and the way I look at it, we were beat by our equipment. The 14 won the championship, and so there is a level there that we know we have the right equipment. It did win the championship, and I've spent this off season really trying to understand how I can do a better job and be a better member of this 48 team. Chad has done his searching as well. The guys have. We've had a ton of meetings, and really, you know, our sport is like so many others. It's about the people. We had the equipment. The equipment won the championship. It's the people and how we executed. And we can look back at some races and say, yeah, you had bad luck here or something there. But at the end of the day, it's about the people. And when I look at our 5 championships we had in a row, each year we showed how as a team we couldn't be beaten. And last year, you know, the stats show, you know, we didn't do that. So that's where we're focused.
You know what I think is interesting about that is, I think after each of your championships, at least after several of them, you made some personnel changes. I mean, not wholesale changes, but you changed some guys in and out, which sort of relates back to what you're saying, always looking to get better, but focusing maybe on the people as a way to improve performance.
Yeah, I mean, the group of guys we have, we're very proud of and don't feel like we need to make a change. It's more about the way we communicate, the way we're using the tools that are provided to us, you know, here at Hendrick Motorsports, and decisions that we make. So we're very comfortable with the group that we have, and there's been some small changes in the shop, but in the major roles within the team, it's the same guys, and we know that if we're hitting on all 8 cylinders, we can win a championship again.
Obviously a key relationship for you with Chad Knaus, your crew chief. You guys have been together for so long and a great relationship there. Has there been anything over the years that's changed in the way you communicate or the way you do things, or has it kind of been the same throughout your tenure together?
No, it's really changed a little each year, and I could say that in 2005, at the end of 2005, we had probably our biggest you know, situation between he and I, which led to a lot of change starting the 2006 season, which then started our run. So, you know, I look at some of the difficult times we dealt with this past season, and this, you know, in any relationship, the tough times are what make it stronger, make the relationship stronger. It's easy to win. It's easy to stand there and be like, hey, buddy, good job. But when you're really challenged, that's when you learn about yourself, about the people that are around you, and what their values are. And we didn't have a terrible year last year. We finished 6th,
right,
but it wasn't what we wanted. And I think this offseason we've all learned a lot about one another and where our hearts are, and how bad we want to be a champion again. And I think it's going to springboard a lot of positive things for us.
One thing I've noticed about your team, I'm sure all race fans have noticed it, is how good you guys are at making changes during the race, overcoming handling issues and getting better. I can remember a race at Dover, you probably remember this, where you're sharing a pit box at the beginning of the race and you ended up in the top 5 if not winning the thing. And there have been Atlanta a couple years ago in the chase is another example. What can you put your finger on why you guys are able to overcome in those situations where maybe you don't have the car at the beginning of the race?
Yeah, well, it's been a great attribute for the team, and didn't know that we had it in us until we challenged it many times.
Right.
So,
put yourself in that position.
I hate to be in that position.
Maybe you'd rather not find out.
That's so true. But we have it, and that's been, you know, vintage 48. That's what the 48's about, and we'll continue to stay focused in those areas. So if we're having a poor day, to make the most of it.
I'd say the other vintage 48, at least from my perspective and from a fan's perspective, is that if something does go amiss through no fault of your own, you take it in stride. You don't, at least from what we can see, you don't overreact, you don't get all upset, you don't let your frustration dictate performance. Is that something that you've had to sort of work on specifically, or has that always been your mode?
It's been more of my makeup over the years, and I have to say last year I was probably more affected by that than any other year, and that's an area of focus for me. You know, I've always been the calming influence within the team, and Chad's been the aggressor.
He's on the chip all the time, right?
So if you get us both on the chip, we're probably not going to make good decisions. And you know, I've always had that ability to not hit the button and say kind of what was on my mind. I might just scream it in my helmet instead of broadcasting it to my team in the world.
That's a good technique.
So
I can use that with my wife.
Right?
But you have to wear a helmet. You have to wear a helmet in order to do that, though.
Or leave the room or something. So,
exactly. In the pillow.
The pillow. So I think that's an area where I didn't do my best last year in that area, and an area of focus for me going into 12.
All right, Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Thanks for your time.
And still
sir.
the favorite, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.